Let's start it off with a name that almost everybody should recognize, fantasy football legend for a couple of years, Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley was the 10th overall pick of the 2015 NFL Draft, and boy did he hit the ground running with a strong showing in his rookie season, rushing for 1,106 yards and 10 touchdowns, only playing in 13 games and starting in 12 of those. He earned himself a spot in the Pro Bowl and on the All-Pro second team that year, and also took home the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. You really couldn't ask for much more from a rookie running back, and it appeared that Gurley was one of the faces of the future at the position. However, he did take a bit of a step back in the 2016 season, despite taking over as the Rams' full-time starting running back. Even though he did have a letdown year in 2016, he went on an elite two-season tear the following 2 years. Following a coaching change that saw the firing of Jeff Fisher and the hiring of Sean McVay, Gurley reestablished himself as one of the most promising running backs in the league in the Rams' new offense. He made a return to the Pro Bowl in 2017 off the back of a 1,305-yard, 13-touchdown season, leading the league in rushing touchdowns. Along with this, he proved to be a difference maker in the passing game out of the backfield, pulling in 64 passes for 788 yards and 6 touchdowns. These combined 2,093 yards from scrimmage led the league in the 2017 season. Along with this Pro Bowl appearance, Gurley was also named to the All-Pro first team and took home the Offensive Player of the Year award. He followed this up with yet another great season on the ground, picking up 1,251 yards and 17 touchdowns in only 14 games, once again leading the league in rushing touchdowns. This earned him another spot in the Pro Bowl and on the All-Pro first team. Now, Gurley was arguably the most elite running back in the league over this two-season stretch and was an integral piece of Los Angeles making a Super Bowl run where they were eventually taken down by a final score of 13-3 by the Patriots. Gurley was held in check in that Super Bowl, struggling for just 35 yards on 10 carries. Now, in the offseason, it was revealed that Gurley had arthritis in his left knee, and it quickly became clear that this was affecting his level of play on the field. In his final season in LA, he failed to crack 1,000 yards on the ground, but was still able to rush in for 12 more touchdowns. The Rams could see the writing on the wall with this one and allowed Gurley to walk in free agency, where he ended up signing with the Falcons. In his final year in the league, while still starting, Gurley struggled to be a productive rusher, averaging a near career low 3.5 yards per carry. Those knee injuries really screwed Gurley over. There's definitely a chance that Gurley could still have been one of the league's most highly regarded running backs today, but that arthritis in his left knee, paired with his lack of production, led to him going from Offensive Player of the Year to out of the league in only 3 seasons. From one Falcons running back to another, I want to talk about Devonta Freeman, who was a 4th-round pick in the 2014 NFL Draft. He had a quiet rookie season, serving strictly as a backup, but he broke out the following year after taking over that starting spot. He finished his 2015 campaign with 1,056 yards and 11 touchdowns on the ground, leading the league in rushing touchdowns. This earned him a spot in the Pro Bowl and on the All-Pro second team. Freeman carried that momentum into the following season as well, in which he was a huge part of the elite Atlanta Falcons offense that led the team to a Super Bowl appearance. He finished the regular season with yet another 1,000-yard year on the ground and scored another 11 rushing touchdowns, earning him a spot in the Pro Bowl. In the Super Bowl against the Patriots, Freeman picked up a very respectable 75 yards on the ground on 11 carries and also pulled in 2 passes for an additional 46 yards. But the Falcons notoriously blew a 28-3 lead and lost in overtime by a final score of 34-28. Despite taking a bit of a step back in the 2017 season, he still had a decent year, rushing for 865 yards and 7 more touchdowns. However, the following year, he was only able to play in 2 games due to a slew of different injuries. Now, it was clear that the injuries had taken a real toll on Freeman, and he didn't even look like the same player in the 2019 season, leading to his release from the Falcons. In his final 2 years in the league, he played for the New York Giants and Baltimore Ravens, struggling to perform anywhere near his elite 2-season run in Atlanta. These injuries and lack of production took Freeman from being a running back who led the league in rushing touchdowns and a member of the All-Pro second team to out of the league in only 6 seasons. Next up, we have a very speedy receiver that I remember watching a lot of with Deshaun Watson. Will Fuller was the 21st overall pick of the 2016 NFL Draft. He quickly proved himself as a talented piece to the Texans wide receiver room. Playing alongside DeAndre Hopkins, he pulled in 47 passes for 635 yards and 2 touchdowns in just his rookie season. Like I just mentioned, Fuller's elite speed set him apart and made him an ideal deep ball threat for Watson. Unfortunately, the following year, Fuller entered the regular season with a broken collarbone, forcing him to miss the first 3 weeks of that season. After a promising first half of the 2018 season, injuries once again got in the way, with Fuller tearing his ACL during Week 8 against the Dolphins. Even with him coming back from such a serious injury, especially for a player whose game relied so heavily on speed, Fuller put together a very good 2019 season, pulling in 49 passes for 670 yards and 3 touchdowns. Even with the departure of Hopkins from the team in the 2020 season, Fuller couldn't take over as the team's #1 receiver. Brandon Cooks was just the better option. He did have a career year in his new role without Hopkins though, recording 53 receptions for 879 yards and 8 touchdowns with an average of 16.6 yards per reception, setting career highs in all of those metrics. However, following an elite outing against the Lions where he recorded 6 catches for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns, he missed the remainder of that season due to a violation of the league's PED policy. With the Texans transitioning into a rebuild, he signed with the Dolphins in free agency. But injuries once again derailed his season, leaving Fuller only able to play in 3 games due to a broken finger that some described as completely shattered, along with foot, rib, and elbow injuries. Surprisingly, Fuller went unsigned in free agency and didn't play in another game. This likely came as a result of his extensive injury history paired with his high asking price in free agency, as many expected he was set out to receive anywhere from $10 to $17 million. Despite being an undrafted free agent heading into the 2018 season, running back Phillip Lindsay burst onto the scene in his rookie year with the Denver Broncos. Despite only starting in 8 games, he racked up 1,037 yards and 9 touchdowns on the ground, earning himself a spot in the Pro Bowl. After taking over as the team's full-time starter for the entirety of the 2019 season, Lindsay had yet another 1,000-yard year on the ground while picking up another 7 rushing touchdowns. However, in Week 1 of the 2020 season, he suffered a toe injury that kept him sidelined for 5 games. After finishing that season on injured reserve, the Broncos allowed Lindsay to walk in free agency, and he signed with the Texans. He had a rough go with the Texans, only picking up 130 yards and a touchdown in his 10 games played with the team. After being cut mid-season, he signed with the Dolphins to finish out that year. In what went on to be his final year in the league, Lindsay joined the Colts, stepping in for an injured Jonathan Taylor. Sadly, in his 3 games with the Colts, he only recorded 15 carries for 49 yards. Lindsay's disappearance from the league mainly came as a result of his lack of versatility. While he was always a skilled outside rusher, he wasn't one to run up the gut and was not an extremely talented pass catcher out of the backfield either. Was also a bit undersized to be a talented blocker. Pairing this with the fact that he likely would have taken up a lot more cap space than a replacement that a team could have drafted with a late round pick, Lindsay went from one of the league's best underdog stories to completely disappearing in only 3 years. Justin Blackmon was the 5th overall pick of the 2012 NFL Draft and justified his top 5 status with an elite rookie season. In the Jaguars' Week 11 matchup against the Texans, he made history, finishing the game with 7 receptions for 236 yards and a touchdown. At the time, this was the 3rd most receiving yards from a rookie and the most since Jerry Rice. Along with this was the 2nd most receiving yards in Jaguars history, behind only Jimmy Smith. Blackmon went toe-to-toe with Andre Johnson, one of the league's best receivers at the time. The two combined for 21 receptions, 509 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that matchup. Blackmon finished out his 2012 campaign with 64 receptions for 865 yards and 5 touchdowns. However, things quickly went off the rails as Blackmon was arrested for a DUI and received a 4-game suspension for violating the substance abuse policy. To add on to this, he also underwent groin surgery. He was only able to suit up in 4 games in the 2013 season, totaling 29 receptions for 415 yards and a touchdown. He had another rough offseason, being arrested in Edmond, Oklahoma for possession of marijuana. He once again received a substance abuse suspension and never played another snap in the NFL. Despite having elite potential, his off-the-field issues led to the quick disappearance of Justin Blackmon. The Kansas City Chiefs selected Larry Johnson with the 27th overall pick of the 2003 NFL Draft. Unsure if their previous starting running back, Pheoms, was going to be able to bounce back from a serious injury that he suffered the season prior. Unfortunately for Johnson, Holmes made a return to form in 2003, leaving Johnson only able to receive 20 carries in his rookie year. He continued to primarily play that backup role the following 2 seasons. However, despite being a backup in 7 out of the 16 games that he played in during the 2005 season, he was able to still pick up 1,750 yards and 20 touchdowns, earning himself a spot in the Pro Bowl and on the All-Pro second team. In the 2006 season, he was given the reins to the backfield and took full advantage of the opportunity. He finished that year with 1,789 yards and 17 touchdowns on the ground on 416 carries, leading the league in rushing attempts. He made a return to the Pro Bowl and was named to the All-Pro first team. Fortunately, this workload eventually caught up with him, and midway through the 2007 season, he suffered a season-ending foot injury. Despite still being a quality running back, he was unable to ever really play at that same level again following that injury. After 1 more year with the Chiefs, he signed with the Bengals before being cut and returning to Kansas City in the 2009 season. He spent his final 2 years with the Redskins and the Dolphins. As a result of this injury, paired with his mileage and the fact that he was entering his 30s, Johnson quickly went from the league's best back to out of the NFL in only 5 seasons. The Buffalo Bills selected Kiko Alonso with the 46th overall pick of the 2013 NFL Draft. It appeared that they knocked this pick out of the park as he picked off 4 passes, forced a fumble, recorded 2 sacks, and made 159 combined tackles in just his rookie season. These are incredible stats for any middle linebacker, let alone a rookie. However, in that offseason, he suffered a torn ACL while working out and missed the entirety of the 2014 season. Shockingly, he didn't play another snap for the Bills and was dealt to the Eagles for LaShawn McCoy. That trade still haunts me to this day. As an Eagles fan, us getting Kiko Alonso for Shady was terrible. Now, it was very clear that Alonso's injury from the 2014 offseason had taken a major toll on him. He was far from the promising player that he was in his rookie season. This led to him only starting in 1 out of the 11 games that he played in during the 2015 season. Early on in the year, he suffered a grade 2 sprain and a partial tear in his repaired left ACL, causing him to miss 5 games. After only 1 year with the Eagles, Alonso was once again on the move, this time to the Dolphins. In Miami, he had a return to form, some might say, starting in all 15 games that he played in. Alonso recorded 2 interceptions, 1 pick six, 1 forced fumble, and 115 tackles. But the following year, he was moved to left outside linebacker and took a bit of a step back statistically. He had a very solid 3 interception, 125 tackle year in the 2018 season, his final run with the Dolphins. In what went on to be his final year in the league, Alonso suited up as a member of the Saints after being traded from Miami. He served as a backup this season, however, he did suffer another ACL injury and was placed on the physically unable to perform list. Alonso's quick disappearance from the league almost strictly came as a result of the constant ACL injuries that he had to go through. It seemed as soon as he got back to playing like his old self, he would go through another ACL tear. Had these setbacks not occurred, there's definitely a chance that Alonso could have gone on to be one of the league's top middle linebackers with an extremely versatile skill set for the position. Thomas Rawls had a tough road to becoming one of the most promising rookie running backs in his first season. After playing at Central Michigan in college, he signed with the Seahawks as an undrafted free agent. Heading into the year, he was 4th on the depth chart behind Marshawn Lynch, Robert Turbin, and Christine Michael. However, Michael was traded to the Cowboys and Turbin suffered an injury, while the Seahawks signed Fred Jackson, and following an injury-riddled season for Lynch, Rawls earned himself a spot as the team's starter in 7 out of the 13 games that he played in. He took full advantage of this opportunity, by the way, rushing for 209 yards and a touchdown, along with picking up an additional 46 receiving yards and a touchdown in Seattle's Week 11 matchup against the 49ers. These 209 rushing yards broke Seattle's single-game rushing record for a rookie, while he also became the first player in NFL history to pick up 250 yards from scrimmage along with a rushing and receiving touchdown in the same game. Games like this led to many believing Rawls could be one of the most promising running backs that the league had to offer, despite not even being drafted just months earlier. But all this momentum came to a screeching halt when Seattle took on the Ravens, when he suffered a fractured ankle in the team's opening drive. Despite this injury, Rawls still had a very successful rookie year, picking up 830 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground, along with rushing for 5.6 yards per attempt, leading the league in that metric. He made a return to action the following year, however, just 2 games into the year, he suffered a fractured fibula against the Rams, finishing the matchup with -7 yards on the ground on 7 attempts. He was only able to play in 9 games, starting in 7 of them, and took quite a step back statistically. This regression continued in what went on to be his final year in the league in 2017 with the Seahawks. After his 3-year stint in Seattle, he played 1 more game before his eventual retirement from the league. In this contest, as a member of the Bengals, Rawls did not receive a single carry. His disappearance from the league boils down to his ankle and leg injuries that killed all the momentum that he had before. He had an extremely impressive rise in his rookie season, going from a 4th-string undrafted free agent to the starting running back of the Seahawks. His 5.6 yards per carry in that season, paired with his historic game against the 49ers, proved that he had the potential to be a perfect second option to Marshawn Lynch. However, as a result of these injuries, he disappeared from the league just 3 years after making history in his rookie season. Dexter McCluster joined the Chiefs as the 36th overall pick of the 2010 NFL Draft. Despite being listed as a wide receiver, he was an offensive weapon with a skill set similar to players like Devin Hester and Cordero Patterson. In his NFL debut when Kansas City took on the Chargers, McCluster became the youngest player in Chiefs franchise history to score a touchdown, a record that still stands to this day, putting together a beautiful 94-yard punt return. Early on during his time with the Chiefs, he spent time at the running back position, wide receiver position, punt returner, and kick returner, making him one of the most entertaining players in the entire league to watch. While being solid in all of those roles, he really struggled to dominate in any of those positions. This was until the 2013 season, where he proved himself as one of the league's most elite punt returners. He finished the year with 58 punt returns for 686 yards and 2 touchdowns, leading the league in all 3 of those metrics. This earned himself a spot in the Pro Bowl and on the All-Pro second team. Despite making the Pro Bowl, McCluster was on the move in the 2014 offseason, signing a 3-year deal with the Titans. But after a quiet 2 seasons, he was eventually waived from the team. His final year in the league came in the 2016 season, where he saw the field in only 6 games for the Chargers. McCluster's disappearance from the league mainly came from a lack of opportunity and production. A player with a skill set like his only works in certain offenses. While he was talented at a plethora of positions, he didn't do much to set himself apart in any of those outside of the 2013 campaign as a punt returner. While he was an extremely fun and entertaining player to watch, his production on the field didn't constitute any teams paying him the money that he desired when they could find a late-round draft pick to fill a similar role. Josh Freeman was a first-round draft pick by the Bucs in the 2009 NFL Draft, and his career got off to a bit of a slow start in his rookie season, where he threw for 1,855 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 18 interceptions, while leading the Bucs to a less than stellar 3-6 record as a starter. However, with Tampa Bay already investing a first-round pick in him, they continued to give him the reins in the 2010 season. This decision paid off very well, with Freeman making a complete 180 turn. In the Buccaneers' second to last game of the regular season, Freeman put on a masterclass, throwing for 237 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions while completing 80.7% of his passes. These 5 passing touchdowns tied Tampa Bay's franchise record until Tom Brady threw for 6 against the Lions in the 2020 season. Freeman had an elite 3,451-yard, 25 touchdown, 6 interception season and led the team to a 10-6 record. While it still wasn't enough for the Bucs to make the playoffs, many believe that after a rough adjustment year of a rookie season, Freeman had figured out the NFL game and was more than ready and capable to lead Tampa Bay for years to come. But he did take a bit of a step back in the 2011 season and looked more like his rookie self, throwing for 2,592 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 22 interceptions. This was the second time in only 3 years that Freeman finished a season with a negative touchdown to interception ratio, something that's not really excusable in the modern era. To make matters even worse, his poor play was having a clear negative effect on the team's ability to win games, with the Bucs struggling to a 4-11 record with Freeman as a starter. With his back up against the wall in the 2012 season, Freeman once again showed what he was capable of. He threw for a career-high 4,065 yards and 27 touchdowns, while cutting his interceptions down to 17 compared to the 22 that he threw the season prior. Along with this, he threw the longest pass of the entire season for 95 yards. Despite this being his best season yet, Tampa Bay still missed the playoffs, finishing the year with a 7-9 record with him as a starter. Early on in the 2013 season, it quickly became clear that Freeman's time with the Bucs was not going to last too much longer. Heading into the year, he missed the team photo shoot and was not voted as the team's captain for the first time in his career. In his 3 appearances with Tampa Bay that season, he did not win a single game and threw for only 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. After failing to find a trade partner, the Bucs released him. However, it didn't take much time for him to find a new home, signing with the Vikings, but things didn't improve there either. In his sole start with the team, he threw for 190 yards, 0 touchdowns, and an interception. He didn't see the field again until the 2015 season, in which he played only 1 game for the Colts. Freeman didn't turn heads in that matchup either, putting up 149 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. While he showed an immense amount of potential at times during his early years with the Bucs, Freeman's quick disappearance likely came as a result of his frequent turnover issues. Along with this, even when he was playing his best football, he was unable to lead the team to playoff success. Had he been drafted to a different team where he could have been better developed, there's a chance that Freeman could have been a quarterback who went on to define the 2010s. However, while he did turn heads in the 2010 season, this is a level of play that he was unable to keep moving forward, leading to his quick disappearance. Last player on our list today is Stevie Johnson, who was a 7th-round pick in the 2008 NFL Draft selected by the Bills. Oftentimes, players selected in the 7th round don't even make the opening day roster, let alone make it to the starting roster in their rookie season. Johnson did exactly that though. While his numbers don't jump off the stat sheet by any means, he still had a respectable 10 catches for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns in his rookie year. Due to him fighting through rib injuries almost the entirety of the 2009 season, he was only able to finish his 2009 campaign with 10 receiving yards in 5 games. While many believe that this was going to be the end of Johnson's time in the league, this was far from the case, and he once again went on to defy the odds. Johnson went on to have a breakout year in 2010 and became quickly one of Bills quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick's favorite targets. He had the first 1,000-yard year of his career, a huge improvement from the measly 10 yards that he managed to get the year prior. Johnson finished the regular season with 82 catches for 1,073 yards and 10 touchdowns, setting what went on to be a career high in all 3 statistics. While overall this was an incredible year from Johnson, arguably his most memorable moment from this season is one that he wished people would forget about. In week number 12, Buffalo took on the Steelers, and this was an elite Pittsburgh team at the time. Came into this game with a 7-3 record, while the Bills were struggling at 2-8. Despite this, Buffalo found themselves in a perfect position to win the game late in the fourth quarter. Johnson took this mistake to heart, going as far as taking it to Twitter after the game to blame God himself, saying, "I praise you 24/7, and this is how you do me. You expect me to learn from this? How? I'll never forget this ever." Thanks, though. While later in life, he's gone on to come to terms with this monumental mistake, Johnson did not let this drop kill his career. After a strong close to the 2010 season, he had another 1,000-yard year in 2011, finishing his campaign with 76 catches for 1,004 yards and 7 touchdowns. In 2012, he had his third straight 1,000-yard year and continued to prove himself as an elite deep ball threat, averaging 13.2 yards per reception for the second straight year. After Fitzpatrick's release from the team heading into the 2013 season, Johnson struggled to form a similar bond with rookie quarterback E.J. Manuel. He saw his targets cut by around 33%, and as a result of this, saw his stats take a massive dip. Following the Bills drafting Sammy Watkins in the first round of the 2014 draft, Johnson was traded to the 49ers. He then saw a reduced role with the 49ers, starting in only one game. And in his final year with the Chargers, he got off to a hot start but was hampered by nagging injuries, the worst of which being a torn meniscus that required surgery. This injury was ultimately the final blow to his career that he could not bounce back from. As a result of the speed that his game depended on, an injury like this, paired with the fact that he was set to turn 30 the following season, it was just too much to come back from, and he was released from the Chargers heading into the 2017 season, disappearing from the league after a very promising start to what went on to be his last year in the NFL.